Ladies and gents, boys and girls, it is currently Monday the 12th of February. I have the day off work, I've just done some chores, and I feel like just doing a podcast because I haven't done one in quite some time. And I feel like I should just be telling you guys a bit more about my ever exciting life. What we're doing today is a little bit of like a throwback. We're going to be talking about my first and my last ever beach party. And if you're between the ages of 20 and 26, like right now, upon listening to this, you've probably heard of or maybe even been to a beach party on the east coast of Belfast, if we can call it that. It is, yeah, the beach party's big thing when I was younger. Like, it was huge for like young teens, and basically it was just like an excuse for underage people to congregate at the beach and underage drink. And yeah, that was really it. But I had no idea of what exactly these things were. I just heard about them, I'd read about them on Facebook, and I was intrigued. So upon getting the call up to one at the age of 13, I say the call up, it was like an open invite. The beach is a public area, but basically someone was like, Alex, would you like to go to the beach party? And of course I obliged. I was, yes please sir, I said, and that was it. Deal done. I was going to the beach party on a particular weekend. Now, just for a little bit of context, in terms of like social interactions and social engagement, I wasn't anything to write home about when I was younger. I was quite shy, pretty reserved, and on weekends all I'd really do is play a bit of rugby and then maybe go to the cinema with the boys, or like loiter around town and go through shops that I had no interest in purchasing anything from. So going to the beach party was just a completely new thing for me, and it was something I was very excited for. And because I hadn't been exposed to this beach party culture or this scene, I kind of had to like formulate or make up at least my own picture of it before going. I kind of jumped to conclusions with regards to a lot of things, and a lot of the conclusions that I jumped to were, I mean, they just couldn't be further from the truth. One presumption I had was that this would be a very civilized evening. It would be, you know, the social elite from Belfast. So you had all the players from, like, I don't know, maybe Campbell College, Victoria College, Inst, Methody. They would all congregate, meet up. It would be civilized. They'd be chilling at the beach, maybe dipping in like the actual sea itself, going for some short swims, and just hanging out, making friends. It was kind of like a 90210 picture I had in my head. And based off of that, I got dressed like that. I can't even remember his name. The black guy from 90210 is what I dressed up like. And I was just like, yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. I'm going to meet new friends. I might even pool. At this stage, I'd never kissed a girl. So that was always at the back of my head. I may find a girl to lay my oversized lips on. And yeah, pretty much dressed up in my favourite attire at the time, which consisted of white plimsolls from like Primark, pair of board shorts, and I think I was wearing like one of those Abercrombie and Fitch like muscle fit tees. I don't know if those still go around anymore, but like that was my go-to top when I was going out. It was just like a very neat fitting top that kind of accentuates like your biceps, or you know, what I thought were biceps at 13 years of age. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wore. But one of my secret weapons was beneath my board shorts. I was actually wearing a pair of swimming trunks, and this isn't even a lie. I legitimately thought that people may, you know, dip into the ocean, and I was more than up for a swim. And in my, in my backpack, I think for the majority of people, what they ended up bringing was like beer bottles, beer openers, and cigarettes, Bluetooth speakers. But for me, all I had in my backpack was like a bottle of Lucozade Sport, a bottle of water, I think some sandwiches my mum had made me. And also, what else did I have? Oh yeah, fucking goggles, because like I can't open my eyes underwater in like a swimming pool. So I was like, if I'm jumping in the actual sea at Helen's Bay, there's no way on earth I'm going to be able to open my eyes underwater, so I'm bringing my goggles. So yeah, I was pretty much set for the day, and what I wanted to do was arrive in style with the boys. So the idea was that everyone was going to meet in town and get like the train from Great Victoria Street station, I believe. And yeah, so that was the plan. I was to cycle down there, meet the boys, leave my bike at the train station, and yeah, get the train up, have a good night. The plan itself was sound, and it just did not come to fruition, unfortunately. Pretty much what happened was I cycled onto the train station on my relatively new bike at the time. And when I got there, I realised I didn't have my fucking bike lock. So I was panicking, I was flustered. The boys were all telling me that they were at the actual, like, the platform itself waiting for the train. Whereas I was just frantically, you know, going in circles, going through my bag, time and time again, just trying to find my bike lock, which I couldn't find. I ended up missing the train. The boys left without me, which was pretty solid. And yeah, I was just like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And in my head, I ran a few equations, one of which was, okay, if I cycle home now, get my lock, cycle back here, I'm probably gonna be looking at a 2-hour lag time between the boys arriving and me arriving. So instead, what I decided to do was just to jump on the next train and bring my bike with me, because a lot of the trains, as I did know, had bike access. Like at the front and the back of most trains, you can park like your bikes. So yeah, I hop on the train with my bike, and there's no space in the bike docks to put my bike, so I just had to stand in basically the aisle or the gangway of the train itself, sitting on my bike, and everything was going fine until we got past, I don't know what the stop is, but basically loads of these like Glentoran or Cliftonville, I can't remember which, but football fans pretty much just jumped on the train and started just going bonkers. I was somewhat grateful because I couldn't really make out their like really really like thick accents. I didn't know what they were singing about or who was like, I don't know, the subject of their joke, because a lot of them were laughing after these chants. But one chant that I did make out was bike wanker. I believe that was directed at me because there was no one else in that particular carriage with a bike. So that was an enjoyable trip in itself, and yeah, I just could not wait to get to Helens Bay. Not to get to this 90210 party that I had in my head, but just to get away from these freak football fans. Anyway, we get to Helens Bay, and I promptly run from the train station, hop on my bike, and begin to pedal my way downhill to Helens Bay itself. I can see like the coast in the distance, I can see the golden sand, and at this stage I just have a grin from ear to ear. During my like rapid descent towards the beach, what I stumble across is two of the boys from school, and they're like loitering just about 10 meters outside of like this off license, and I kind of pull up to them and ask, you know, what on earth are you doing? To which they say, why the fuck do you have a bike? Two very very like valid questions. I answered first. I said, well, basically I left my lock, blah blah blah, and I kind of told them that I had to bring the bike. They then responded to my question and explained that they were basically just trying to get a swal for the boys. And what they were looking for is basically someone underage that had ID, or someone that was of age that could, you know, actually condone and promote underage drinking. And we ended up settling for the former, obviously, because there's not many adults that would buy drink for, you know, 13-year-old boys dressed in like Topshop's finest wear. Anyway, after about 25 minutes of waiting, we come across this guy who has borrowed his brother's ID for the day in order to supply the beach with alcohol. And this guy's like Al Capone of Belfast right now. Like, we basically ask him, you know, could you sort us out? And he says yes for a cut. We end up giving him more than what the beer is actually worth, so I think we gave him £3, like a £3 tip for buying us 3 12 packs. It was like a tip per pack, and the three of us bring the 12 packs down. We carry a pack each, and I feel like a bit of a don because I've got like my bike in my left hand, and then I'm just swinging this wine flare bag in my right hand. And when I say swinging, I mean it. Like, I wanted the bottles to clink so that people would know that Alex McKnight has swal on hand. And I felt like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like Quasimodo just ringing his bell around Paris, just letting people know I have a hunch on my back. I've also got 12 Corona. What are you going to do about it? As hard as I thought I was also like concerned in the back of my head, because I was like, what if Mum finds out that I've, you know, just held a Corona, never mind drank one? What if I get caught by the police? You know, what if? Like all these hypothetical situations that were all dire. And I tried to look composed, like I tried to like kind of saunter down nonchalantly with the boys, as a like just trying to appear as if I was cool, which was far from the case. Anyway, as we are making our way closer and closer to the beach, the boys start to ask me more questions. Like, after getting over the fact that I had a mountain bike with me, they now wanted to know why I was dressed in just unsuitable clothes, because even though it was like summertime, the weather here is always bleak. Certainly in the evenings it gets cold, and they were like, why are you in shorts? And I was kind of taken aback by this. I was like, why am I in shorts? Why are you in jeans and a hoodie? And they basically said, because it's cold. Again, more than enough reason to wear jeans and a hoodie. But my answer for wearing shorts was because I was going to jump in the sea. Are you not? And to that, both of the boys laughed, and they continued to laugh for quite some time. After the laughing concluded, they then asked me if I was serious, to which I responded, yes, it's a beach party. And again, the laughing then resumed. I found out very quickly that no one was interested in the sea at all. It was just a meeting point for some reason. So yeah, my board shorts, or my trunks beneath my board shorts rather, and my goggles were just a waste of supplies really. I was basically using up the capacity of my bag for no reason whatsoever. Please note also that of course I had a towel at this stage, so that was like half of the bag capacity wasted on, well, nothing, like redundant kit. Anyway, finally we get to the beach and I say to the boys, please don't tell anyone that I've got trunks, please don't tell anyone that I've got a towel and goggles, because I just kind of want to fit in. They oblige, and yeah, we just get on with it. As I come across, groups of people, everyone says either bike wanker or why do you have a bike? And again, I tell them the same story, as long as it is and as boring as it is, everyone was interested in the bike story. And after a while, I had these random people. I would describe them as smicks, like they were dressed in full tracksuits, caps pointed at like, if we call like a horizontal line like flat, they were at like maybe a 30-degree incline. Like they just looked stupid, and they would ask me, I'll try and do the accent, I'm not very good at accents, but they'd say, here mate, geez, we go on your bike. That was fucking awful. But that's what they would say. They'd ask for a go on my bike, and me being an agreeable little bitch, I'd say, of course, no problem, please do bring it back. And of course, they actually did bring it back, and I'd say, like, if I had a penny for every time I lent my bike that night, I would say I'd have at least accrued maybe 12 pence, maybe a bit more. But yeah, basically I loaned my bike out to a lot of people. The one person that I regret loaning my bike out to, I'll say her initials because I don't want to name anyone, but her initials are RM, and fuck me, she almost gave me a heart attack. She borrowed my bike, and she was wrecked at this stage. I'd never seen someone so drunk at such a young age. I don't think I'd ever seen anyone drunk, full stop, but she kind of stumbles up to me. She's got no shoes on, she's wearing like a dress, and she says, could I have a go on your bike? And I said, okay. And she just takes the bike from me and makes a beeline for the sea. And it was almost, I watched her go into the sea in slow motion. Like, I was just kind of like, this can't be happening. Please tell me this is like a dream or a nightmare. This cannot be happening. And she just drove the bike right into the sea. And yeah, pretty much left it there. Now, at this stage, the tide was coming in, so I wasn't that concerned, but I was kind of pissed off. I basically just had to take off my plimsolls, my little ankle socks, and run into the sea after my bike had been pretty much burnt out. So yeah, I mean, it was good that I had the towel in that sense, because I was able to dry off my feet and resume with this kind of party experience. For me, I think the worst part was the fact that I had to lie to my mum about what I was doing. I said that I was going to the cinema for the evening, which is why I was excusing myself between the hours of like, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon through to 11 o'clock in the evening. Now, obviously, there's no movie that lasts nearly as long as that, but I just explained to my mum that I was going out, watching a movie, getting some food with the boys, and then I'd see her later. Some other people told maybe a bit more elaborate lies. I remember one of the boys, he told his parents that he was going to his friend's birthday, and as such, his family bought him like a birthday card. They also gave him 20 quid enclosed in that card to take to his friend's birthday party, which did not exist. So he had just basically taken 20 quid from his parents and told them a barefaced lie. And that same guy, he had told them that he was going to the cinema as part of this birthday party, extravaganza. And his parents called him later in the evening to check in on him, see how the movie was. And I just remember being beside him when he took the call. And he was like, oh, sorry, Mum, can't speak very long. I'm in the cinema at the moment. And she responded, why can I hear seagulls? Basically, like, all around us were just gulls. And his response to that was, oh, that's just part of the movie. And he basically just hung up the call on his mum, turned his phone off for the rest of the evening, because he realised that, they weren't that stupid. They were pretty astute, and they knew that something was up. And yeah, from that, a lot of people's alibis had holes picked in them by their parents, either calling them or sending them text messages that weren't responded to with, compatible lies. Anyway, we got on with our night, because a lot of us we realised that we were going to get in trouble one way or another, so we just thought, let's enjoy ourselves. And my idea of enjoyment, or at least at that stage, was just making sure that, people took care of my bike and people did not crash into the sea after RM did. So yeah, my hands were tied, renting out my bike to people for £0 and 0 pence, whereas the other boys, their hands were tied with just who could drink the most alcohol and who could sing along to the most David Guetta tracks. It was a pretty weird night, and I think the worst part of the night for me, I say the worst, the part that I have been taunted for numerous times by numerous people, was the time this girl and myself, we started chatting and interacting. And at this stage, I'd never kissed a girl. I had no real interest in women, or at least that's what I told myself. That was my excuse for not getting off with anyone. But this girl was, I'm going to say she was interested in me, and that's not me trying to big myself up as some 13-year-old player, but she was very, very apparently interested in me. We were sort of embracing slash hugging, and for me that was a massive deal. Like literally just being next to a girl and wrapping my arms around them, that was just a huge deal. That was a milestone in my like love career. And we just kept chatting. She kept trying to kiss me, and I kept like French kissing her because I was too scared to kiss anyone on the lips. Like if you know me personally, you'll know that my lips are like big rubber rings, and I was like, how do I use these? So I just kept French kissing her, like on one cheek then the other. I kept like avoiding her kisses like Neo in the Matrix, just like contorting my neck in ways that can't be humanly contorted. Like I looked like a fucking oil, just looking left and right, just trying to avoid any lip contact. And I think she got pretty, not upset, but frustrated. And she then decided to double down. Like she ended up pulling out, and this is of no word of a lie, she ended up pulling out a condom and handing me it. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I remember taking the condom off her, and I was like, okay, think fast. How do I say no in a polite way? Because, you know, I'm too scared to kiss this girl. There's no way I'm going to put like this rubber wrapping all over my little, like, I think I called it a willy at that stage. Like, that's how young and, like, juvenile I was. And I said to her, I was like, oh, thank you, but I think this one's a little bit too small, and then promptly handed it back to her. And that was my way of saying no thank you. I don't want to have sex. And yeah, I remember a lot of people saw that exchange, like her handing me the condom and me giving it back to her. They also saw me, like, this is very, very grim, but we were, like, I was basically dry humping her like a little rabid dog, or rampant dog, sorry. It was just abysmal. Like, I remember the lads just laughing at me afterwards, and me thinking, like, how am I ever gonna live this down? Like, I just really wanted to be swallowed up by like the sand that was before me. But unfortunately that did not happen. What did happen, however, was later on in the evening people ordered taxis, and I ran into a guy called Andrew Gilroy, who is now one of my very, very best friends. He basically came up to me, asked if I was getting home okay, and if I needed a lift or needed somewhere to crash. And I ended up crashing at his, having never ever met him before that beach party. Like, he could look past the fact that I didn't want to have sex. He could look past the fact that I had a mountain bike, as well as, you know, swimming trunks and goggles. And he saw me for the true person I am, and ended up just, yeah, inviting me back to his with some of the other lads. And it was really, really cool. So to Andrew Gilroy, if you're listening, you're an absolute gem. I think himself, like, he saved that night for me. It's not, I don't remember that night for the embarrassment, the fact that, you know, I turned away what most boys that age would love. I don't remember that evening for the fact that I was called bike wanker several times. I don't remember that night because a girl almost destroyed my bike in the sea, and I don't remember that day because I lied to my mum. I remember that day most of all because I met today one of my best friends, and for that I'm ever thankful. So to the people that invited me to the beach party, fuck you, it was the worst thing I've ever experienced, but also thank you for giving me the opportunity, I guess, to meet my best friend. So yeah, on that bombshell, thank you very much for listening, and until the next one, stay clinical.